right, today you need to make sure you pray, have your notebook and pen and paper before you start. Okay, what we're going to learn is we're going to learn some math properties: commutative property, associative property, and distributive property. We're really going to be focusing on the distributive property. The other two properties are going to be more of a review. You're also going to be doing substitute values into an expression. Jesus substituted his life in for ours. He replaced our sins and washed us so we are new, okay? So this is kind of the same thing. We're going to take a variable and replace it, and then I can evaluate expressions. All right, today we're going to be doing lesson 3, all right? God distributes his love, grace, and mercy to us. We are all loved by God equally. So remember, when you're distributing, to make sure you hit every single term with his love. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither slave nor free. There is no male or female. You are all one in Christ Jesus. Galatians 3:28. So no preferential treatment when you do distribution property. Make sure you hit every single term. All right, here's the review page. I just want to quickly make sure your brain is in the right spot. So please pause the video, do these real fast, and hopefully you have the right answer. If you don't get the right answer, you do need to make sure you go back and kind of study a little bit more before you start. All right, there we go. Hopefully you got those and no issues. So the first one says identity properties. Either adding a 0 or multiplying by 1 doesn't change the number. That would be what identity means. Commutative basically means that you can commute or move. Associative means we're actually putting parentheses, we're moving it, so we have 3 plus 4 associated together, and then we can also do 4 plus 5 and add them, or multiply them in different orders, and they still will come up with the same answer. Distributive property says that you can get the same answer when you distribute this 5. We distribute the love all the way across, so we have 5x plus 15. And that's what that means. So let's review these and see if you can get them. We're going to talk about properties, yay! Laws or rules to follow to help us get to the right answer. Just like God gives us the Bible to follow, we're going to follow some rules. Some of this should be reviewed, some of it you may not have seen. Hopefully you've seen it at least one time in your lifetime before this point. The blank property says that neither adding a 0 or multiplying a 1 does not change the number. So I gave you little examples along the way. I want you to pause the video, see if you can figure out these. If you don't, you need to probably write them down in your notebook and study them some more. Pause. So now that we've gotten to that, the identity is this property that says either adding or multiplying by 1 does not change the number, because you actually get the identical number again. So whatever number you put in, you get out. Commutative says the property that swaps numbers or terms and gets the same answer, which means kind of like commute, it moves. So since this one has moved to this point and this one has moved here, switch places, it's considered a commute. Associative property says that you're grouping in a different way. It's kind of like saying that you're the 4, and today you're going to associate today with 3, but maybe tomorrow you're going to associate with 5. No matter what happens, you're still getting the same answer. So you'd still get 7 plus 5, which is 12, and that's 9 plus 3, which is 12. Distributive property says that you can get the same answer when you multiply the number to the group. So meaning that it's kind of like this is God saying, this is you, and here's all the people in your wonderful circle that I want you to love. You need to love them equally. So make sure you love both numbers inside of your equally, and you multiply. So it's 5 times x plus 5 times 3, which is 15. How does the distributive property work? Just kind of a refresher, make sure you're distributing it to the A. So that means I'm multiplying it to the B, the A, and I'm also multiplying it to the C, but I don't change the operation in between. That's huge. Don't do that. So if we're going to simplify it, we would go 6 times x and 6 times 3. So we would get 6x plus 6 times 3, which would give us 6x plus 18. So I want you to try it, see how well you do, and pause the video and make sure you do every term. There's the answer. So make sure if you didn't do it, you should be able to, don't change the sign in between, and make sure you get it, don't change the sign and the operation in between. So there's my answers. Let's try it again, a little bit harder. So now we're going to not only distribute, but we're actually going to combine like terms when we're done. So don't forget to include the 9w. It's going to need to be combined with whatever else is a w in there. Pause the video, see if you can get it. Here is your answers. This would give you 18w. Remember, you need to make sure that's negative 21, so that's where this comes from. And the same thing, this is 24, this is 12x, and this one is a little harder. You have a 9x plus 27 plus, and then that's 10x minus 20, and that's where we get our 3 answers. All right, let's try it again. Good, let's see if you get this one. Hopefully you did. Remember, this is a negative, so you're gonna be subtracting. So that's 14 say that's negative 14w. So that's why you would get a negative 6w. No, I didn't make a mistake. All right, hopefully you got that. Keep in mind when you're dealing with this here, this is another tricky one because that is a negative 6. It has to be brought through. So that's going to give me negative 18 and negative 6x. Why I get the 2. This one is also negative, so keep that in mind. That's also going to bring me through and change all the signs. So be careful of those, okay? Hopefully that was a quick review. That's why I always write up here, watch the subtraction and negative signs, okay? So now it gets a little harder, okay? So now we're going to talk a little bit more about this, all right? And this is where I go a little bit slower because it's starting to get a little harder. You notice this second one is like really hard. All right, if you can, pause the video, see if you can do it, but let's go do it together. So we have negative 15, okay, and then we're going to multiply that plus 3x. We're going to bring everything else down as is, okay? So this is where it gets a little tricky, right? So now we're still in the parentheses. Remember, PEMDAS is really important. I got to follow that, and I'm still in a parentheses. I can't touch that negative in front yet. All right, so I'm going to add the 4x and the 3x, and that's going to give me 7x, and that's going to be minus 15, okay? And I now have a negative in front. This negative is actually a negative 1, and it's actually using distributive again, and I've got to multiply it to everything. So it's actually going to change my signs to this. So it's a tricky one. That's why I want to make sure I did it with you. All right, this one over here, make sure you follow PEMDAS, okay? I noticed that my parentheses, there's nothing in here that I can combine, so we're good. But I noticed I have a 2 squared. That's my exponent. I got to do that first. So we're going to still keep my 4, okay? We're going to leave him alone. But this is actually going to be 4, okay? And then I go 3x minus 8 plus 2x, and then end my bracket. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to switch colors so that way you can kind of see a little bit about what I'm doing. I'm going to literally distribute this all the way through, okay? So 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times 8 is 32. Remember, I don't change the sign in between or the operation, okay? And then I can have plus 2x. Leave that bracket going, and then I have negative 4. So now I need to combine any like terms. Well, I notice I have a 12x and I have a 2x, okay? I can drop at this point, I can drop my parentheses because there's nothing in, whoops, that's not what I wanted to drop. There's nothing in my actual, there's nothing inside of here that's gonna make one difference or another. So let's put my 1 back up there. All right, there's nothing inside the parentheses, in other words, it can be combined. Okay, so now we have 12x plus 2x. That is 14x minus 32. I need to make sure I keep this here and I have a negative 4, okay? So now we're going to distribute this negative 4. This is really important, okay? So now I'm gonna get, and you may have to, work out the problems. 4 times 14, 56, 4 times 32, 128. You'll notice that I did end up changing the signs because a negative times a positive is a negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. So when that's the case, this is what your answer will be. And there it is, a little bit more neater for you in case you can't read my handwriting. Well, let's try kind of thinking, okay? Which is equivalent to 6w plus 18u by the distributive property. Otherwise, for if we distribute either the 3 or the 6, which one's going to give me this as an answer? Pause the video, see if you can answer it. The answer is D, because I'm going to go 6 times W, and then I'm going to go 3 times U. So that's going to give me 18. This one here would give me the 6W, but not the 18. This one would give me 18, but not the in the correct order. All right, let's try another one. Which algebraic expression is equivalent to the expression below? See if you can distribute it, pause the video, and answer this one. Answer is B, because don't forget, you have to do the first and the last. Good. Let's try this one. Which algebraic expression is equivalent to the expression below? So pause the video, see if you can combine like terms and come up with the answer. The answer is D, and it makes sense because I'm distributing that's 80 plus 22, which gives me 102. Hopefully you got that. Let's try another one. All right, which algebraic expression is equivalent to this one? Pause the video. All right, the answer is actually A. So hopefully you got this one. Basically, make sure you distribute, and then that should give you the answer. Let's try a different one. Factor the expression completely. In other words, for which one of these, if I multiplied it, would actually give me this? Pause the video, see if you can figure it out. All right, there's my answer. I just put that one in there because we had done one earlier. So let's try this, okay? This one's going to require a little bit more. I'm going to have to now distribute to 2 of them, okay? So, and then simplify. See if you can do them, see how well you do on them. It's going to be A, B, C, or D. All right, it's C, so hopefully you got that. And in case you didn't quite get it, that would have been 48x. And remember, these two together gives me 39x, so that's a plus, sorry. And this then would also give me the 60y. And this one's gonna give me the minus 21y, because there's a negative right there. This one may be a little harder, so see if you can do it. Just remember, this is distributed, and this is a -1, so distribute it to everything. Pause the video, see if you can get the answer. All right, my answer for this one is also C. Hopefully you got that. And on the next video, we're going to be talking about evaluating expressions. So it's a continuation of this, but we have still a couple other things with it. Hopefully you watched the previous video. Now we're going to be doing evaluating expressions. Hopefully, again, this is a review. I don't go into a lot of detail, so hopefully you understand when we're done. God moment. You are given an expression and then the answer to each variable. God gives us the answers to each of our problems. We just need to listen for his still small voice and follow his command. And I love this with after the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And then after the fire came a gentle whisper. God comes to us in a gentle whisper. So we need to listen to it. That's why he's always important, or it's always important that we be still and know that I am God. This will lead to the correct answer and God's will for your life. If you don't put the correct number in when you're substituting, or if you don't substitute with Christ into your life and you try to fill that void inside of you with anything but Jesus, you are not going to get the correct answer. You're not going to be satisfied. Okay, we are commanded to follow his instructions and have that Jesus-filled shape in our heart needs to be filled up with Jesus, not with material things and other things. Review. In your own words, put constants, variables, and expressions. Pause the video. We went over them in the previous video. I want to make sure they're still in your head. Give me an example if you don't know exactly what to say, and see if you can get it. Okay. Constant is something that doesn't change. 5, that's a constant. Variable is a letter that represents a changeable value. X is a variable. Expression is numbers and letters used in the expression, so we have something like x plus 5. There you go. Let's hope you remembered it. A little bit of review. Variables are often used to represent numbers or unknown values in algebra. That's really the basis of it. And when you are asked to evaluate an expression, you are to substitute or replace a number in place of the variable or letter and then simplify. Okay, then you have to use PEMDAS. So let's look at some steps we need to do. So when you're doing this, you want to give in an expression the values for the variable. You want to identify the variable in the expression, substitute, there might be more than one, by the way, so that's why it says variables, substitute the given value for the variables, perform given operations on the number, and then simplify your answers. So if I tell you that x equals 5, then whatever, if I give you something like x plus 3, you are able to put 5 in place of x and then solve. So let's take a look at some examples. I have evaluate 2z plus z when z equals 3. I would notice here that I have 2 z's, so I'm going to have 2 3's. Just going to literally put my 3's right in where they belong. See how that works? And now I'm just going to simplify. Well, I know what 2 times 3 is, 6, and I'm just going to bring the 3 down. Then I have 3 plus 9, and there's my performing, and there's my simplifying. Hopefully that made sense. So evaluate the expression 2b plus a when a equals 2 and b equals 4. I want you to try this and pause the video and see if you can get the right answer. You'll notice that the b was first, so I put my 4 here, and a is 2, so then I have 8 plus 2. Let's change colors a little bit. Note, anytime there's a number or constant directly attached to a letter or variable, we are automatically assuming we are multiplying these two numbers. I just want to make sure we do that. And then we used PEMDAS to do it first. So we multiplied first and then we added. Let's try this one. You try, or let's see, my turn. All right, so I'm going to do 4 plus x, and then x equals 3. So I'm going to substitute 4 plus 3, and then I'm going to simplify and get 7. You try. Pause the video and see if you can get it. There's your answer. These should be pretty easy. Okay, let's try another one. I want you to pause the video. This is the 1, okay, this is 2, and this is 3. You're going to do it for y equals 2 and negative 4, and then again for y equals 1 and 0 for the same exact expression up here. And then over here, I'm giving you y, x, y, and z. See if you can substitute them in and solve. Pause the video, see if you can get it. Here's my answer. For A, I have 12 plus negative 8, which gives me a positive 4. And here for B, I have 6. On this one here, I end up with 3 minus 4 plus 12 minus 6, which gives me 5. Hopefully you got that. Let's try a couple more. Evaluate these expressions for negative 3 and positive 10. So I want you to pause the video and try it and see if you got it. One of the things I want to point out, in whether you've already finished it, great, awesome, is I want you to put a parentheses around it if I'm dealing with a negative number so you don't forget, because it can be a little daunting, especially something like this, because if you don't, you're going to end up like this and it might confuse you and realize that that's actually a positive number. Here are my answers. All right, remember this is 1, whoops, I just moved the thing. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Try this one. These are a little harder. Remember, this should be a review. It shouldn't be something new. So far, we've gone over a review. This should be a little harder, so it might take a little bit more practice. So do number 5, 6, and 7 and pause the video and see if you can get them. Here's the answers. So let's do some more practice. Here's the little things here. I want you to just plug in the numbers. You'll notice I'm starting to put fractions in here for you, a little bit harder, and see if you got it. Here they are worked out, so hopefully you got them. Let's try another one. This is pause it and then play it when you're done. Here are the answers. Hopefully you got all those. The last thing I want to talk about today is the perimeter. Again, remember, when I'm adding a perimeter, I'd add them all together, simplify them, and then I would actually replace the 3, or you replace it ahead of time, knowing that that means that that side is 3. That might make it a little easier for you. Do that, pause the video, see if you can get the right answer. The answer is 18. Remember, it's x plus 7 plus 3x minus 4. So that actually is 3, 4, 5x plus 3, and if I replace the 3, that's why. Let's try another one. This one is perimeter. Remember, that also means that this is x plus 1, and that's 2x plus 3. So go ahead and add up all of those wonderful sides. See if you can get the perimeter when x equals 5. Your answer should be 38. We're going to go over a little bit of a reality. If Joe gets 3 quarters for every time he sweeps his room, how many quarters does he get if he sweeps his room 4 times? And how many times if he gets 8 times? So think of this, evaluate. This is my little number here. This is my equation. 3 times whatever, how many times I actually sweep it. If Q equals 4, evaluate it, and Q equals 8, evaluate it. You should know that 3 times 4 is 12 and 3 times 8 is 24, hopefully. Here is your exit ticket. I know this looks really hard, and it is actually. It's probably one of the hardest ones you'll do. Hopefully you can get it. I do want you to try it and see if you can get it, and I'll give you the answer on the next page and see if you can get the answer. Pause the video if you want. The answer is 1. So if you can go ahead and go through this whole thing and see if you can get 1. Your homework is Unit 1, Assignment 3. You need to watch both of these videos, the video before this and this one, to actually be able to do Assignment 3. Have a great day.